Hi. Back here again to talk about some dolls. Once again, I must apologize for my rather irregular uploading schedule as of late. Like I said in my last video, I started a new medication. Well, switched from one medication to another, which is an entire process in of itself, and it definitely threw me off a little. Anyone who's been there will get it. But trust me, it will take nothing short of an actual apocalypse with hellfire raining down from the sky to prevent me from getting in front of a camera and calling some dolls ugly. And cute. There's some cute ones. But I know you guys. I know what you're really here for. Anyways, though, hi, hello, how are you? I hope your week has been much more steadier than mine has been. If you happen to be new here, this is my channel where I talk all about fashion dolls, and occasionally other things that interest me, but mostly fashion dolls. And this here is a series I like to do regularly, where I just go through new and upcoming releases and give my opinions. And we're here in October. Wow, it's almost the end of the year. But we can save the existentialism for my actual end of the year video. Let's call up my good girl Barbara and get this started. Let's get into it. So, as always, starting with Barbie, and she's getting into the season with the 12 Days of Halloween doll, which launches on Mattel Creations on October 2nd. So, I think the day before this video will go live, maybe she'll still be in stock by the time you see this. Probably, I imagine so. Because she's cute. She's definitely cute. I actually adore this look. I love Halloween aesthetically. I think it's the most fun holiday to produce dolls for. There's so many directions you can go, so much potential for creativity. And although this is a very by-the-books, number-by-number Halloween look, it's so pretty, it's classic, it's lovely, it's elegant. And I love that she has a little extra costume too. The cat suit is great, it's fun. All the extra accessories you get with her are really cute too. However, and this is a very big however, Mattel has a big problem when it comes to these special holiday releases with the classic face mold, the 12 days of whatever, because the pricing. Okay, so when these come out, I like to play a little game with you guys. If you don't already know, I want you to look at her and just take a little guess at how much you think she is. I'll give you a second to just think it over. Got your answer? Okay, if you said 160 doll hairs, you win. The same frustration I feel. If you said anything less than that, you also win some frustration. Okay, really, no one wins. No one wins when you make a doll that ridiculously expensive for, like, actually no reason. I look at her and, yeah, she's a great doll, objectively. But where does $160 come in? Where is that money going? Where does it come from? It doesn't add up. Also, if I look or sound a little weird in this video, I'm not sick, but I am experiencing, like, apocalyptic level seasonal allergies, which is not fun. But alright, next from Barbie, a playline release. The third wave of the deluxe style dolls. Like the last ones, there's 4 in this assortment, and they're cute. You know, now the deluxe style is here, and it's settled in on the toy shelves, and there's not like this shock and awe anymore of seeing Barbie make the effort to be all pink and sparkly and glamorous. I feel like they have a good place here, and I think they're all pretty cute. I think all 4 of them carry a nice baseline level of cute. The designs are all pretty nice. Well, the one with the bun, I just hate seeing a slicked back bun on a Barbie at this point. That's gotta stop. But overall, some good ideas here. I just wish the outfits didn't look like they were made out of tissue paper, especially since lately it did feel like Mattel was making more of an effort to give us fabric variety and texture in the outfits. It looks like all 4 of the dolls, their outfits are made of the exact same material, and that material is 1 ply. Better fabric and some better construction would have leveled up these girlies so much. So it sucks to see some decent designs held back so much by the execution. All right, last thing from Barbie, I want to talk about some new Dream Besties. The core refresh line featuring Malibu Barbie and Brooklyn Barbie, so new signature dolls for these two. Apparently, Renee and Teresa are not included in this line, which is hopefully not indicative of anything, because I love the Dream Besties. Do I love these? Maybe? I keep going back and forth on them. I like that Malibu's outfit is sort of something we haven't seen from her, and I think it has a lot of potential, especially with the hairstyle and the lace leggings. But I don't know if it's necessarily an improvement over the dolls we have, which I feel like should be the point of a core refresh, right? So she's perfectly fine, just not like particularly exciting. Brooklyn Barbie, I actually do like her more than her first signature doll, especially the hair. Oh, I love the hair. I still think there's a lot of things that could be improved, particularly just with the outfit maybe looking a little juvenile, and that could have been solved very easily with just some edits and some different fabric choices. Like the glittery Claire's nightmare skirt isn't helping anything at all, but I do still like her, and I like Malibu. I see the potential, I see the vision, and as the resident Dream Besties apologist, I mean, someone's gotta love these girls, and from what I see, I might be all alone in this. This is the hill I die on. All right, next, Disney. And we've got a pretty decent amount of stuff from Disney this time around. First, a collector doll from Mattel, the Darkness Descends Ursula doll, which is currently available on Mattel Creations for 150 doll hairs. And I quite like her. I feel like Mattel's very consistent strength with their Disney collector dolls is the sculpting and the face-ups. And this one is no exception. There's been a lot of Ursula dolls throughout the years who try to find ways to avoid giving the doll the proper body shape and also the proper face shape, but this one does both, and I can appreciate that. I do think $150 is an absolutely ridiculous price. I can understand that a lot of sculpting and engineering work went into making this doll possible, so I could accept a relatively high price point. This one specifically is just really pushing it. It also kind of sucks that one of the only model-accurate Ursula dolls on the market is just so inaccessible to a large amount of people too. So yeah, the same sentiment you're gonna see a lot from me. Good doll, and bad price. Speaking of prices, the Disney store has been pretty busy because we have a full line of limited edition Disney designer dolls. The Dance Collection, which includes 6 dolls. They've been releasing periodically, starting with Giselle on September 9th, and will be ending with Mulan in a few weeks on October 14th. 130 doll hairs each. I like these. I say very tentatively, because I pretty much accepted the fact that I don't really see myself ever being a Disney LE collector. I can think of several times throughout these videos that I've said something like, oh, I think this one's gonna be my first LE doll, and then I just don't buy her. But I still think plenty of them are gorgeous dolls. Case in point, this is a very beautiful collection. It's always nice to see Giselle, too, with a really gorgeous design. Aurora in the blue dress. I really appreciate that as a blue dress Aurora truther. There's nothing I dislike here. All the dolls are pretty. They're very pretty girls. I just don't really see myself buying any of them. That's all. Next, this year's holiday special edition doll is Snow White. Very topical. Yeah, she's cute. I'm not a Snow White girly. I've talked about this before. So it's very difficult for me to feel very strongly about any Snow White doll, but she's cute. She's nice. I think she gives pretty much everything she needs to give. And I usually like the Disney holiday dolls because they're very subtle in the holiday theming, which is something I prefer. If Halloween is my favorite holiday to see dolls for, Christmas might be my least favorite. And it's nothing against Christmas itself, I just really don't like the aesthetics, especially on dolls, so this is like a perfect amount of holiday theming to me. All right, moving on to Monster High, we have a few things from them too. First, the new wave of Skulltimate Secrets dolls, Gorgeous Oasis. So these are beach themed, swimsuit themed, vacation themed, something like that. I like these. You know, despite what I said at the start of this video, this is actually a pretty positive entry overall. I actually like these a lot, more than I thought I would. Swimwear isn't usually a theme I gravitate towards when it comes to the kinds of dolls I buy, because I mainly associate them with more budget-oriented dolls. But I think these do a good job of making a swimwear line feel a little more deluxe. One detail I really love are the bandanas, which can also be worn as a shirt or a sarong. I think that's so cute. Draculaura, I think, has maybe my favorite face-up I've seen from her. I just hope the actual doll looks as good as she does in the stock images. And from what I've seen in photos, she actually does. Jennifer, I hate that skirt. The purple one, that skirt is heinous. But everything else is pretty cute, and I just love, like, the overall color scheme so much. It's just so pleasing to look at. Laguna, she came with some changes. When I first saw these stock images, I was like, who is this girl? Who is she? But the new face has grown on me quite a lot. I think it suits her. I'm into it. She also has one really ugly skirt, the blue one, but again, everything else is pretty nice. Next, a new doll in the Wednesday Monster High collaboration line, this time of the character Bianca Barclay, the Siren. So, I have watched Wednesday, the new season included, and if I had to choose a favorite character, I think it would be Bianca. I really like her, so I'm happy to see her in the lineup. Wednesday, just as a whole, is one of those shows that, like, I watch it and I know there are many things objectively wrong with it, but I can't help but love it. It's fun, and I'm not opposed to seeing more dolls from this show. You know who I really want a doll of next? Agnes. Please, make a doll of Agnes. I loved her so much in the new season. Up next, to celebrate Mattel's 80th anniversary, the Monster High X Barbie Frankie Stein doll. A pretty fun release, if I do say so. She'll be released later in the month, October 27th, for, I've seen $65 as the price point, which, yeah, that's not great. She does come with a dress, the Solo in the Spotlight gown. We don't have pictures of the doll with it yet, but we do have illustrations. Even so, I still really like her. I don't know, I'm weak to references to the #1 Barbie, and I acknowledge that this release feels very self-aggrandizing on Mattel's part, but it actually is pretty fun, and she just looks really good, too. I guess it is kind of a difficult look to mess up. It's just a striped bodysuit, but her face and her hair and the way she looks in the swimsuit, I do think it's pretty well executed. Will I still complain about the price? Absolutely, because that's what we do here. Oh, another G3 line, Self-Scare Secrets. This one has Draculaura, Venus, and Abby, and as the name implies, is themed around self-care activities. This line is a little more gimmicky, but I think it's a really good way to execute a more gimmicky line. The dolls all stand on their own as, like, perfectly cute sleepwear themed dolls. All the accessories are fun. They're not blowing anyone's mind. They're not setting any new standards, but they're cute, and I guess that's enough. Oh, I really love Venus's bonnet. G3 Venus really is just like hit after hit after hit, not a single miss from her yet. Alright, last but not least from Monster High, the Dia de Muertos Scalita doll for this year. As always, I do prefer to defer judgment to those that celebrate Dia de Muertos as to whether or not they consider this doll to be a good representation of that day and that culture. It's ultimately their opinion that matters a lot more than mine. So if that's you, please let me know what you think, because I am very genuinely interested. Personally, though, I think she's really pretty. The patterns and the colors, they're really, really well done. The face-up, too, of course, I love. The drama. I think for the price point, this, like, playline collector level, this is a very appropriate level of drama and execution, if that makes any sort of sense at all. I think there's a lot of good design decisions here. My only complaint is that, once again, I just wish the dress was made with a heavier or a thicker fabric. But overall, I like her a lot. Alright, for American Girl, we have the set of Wicked collector dolls from the film Wicked, Part 2, obviously. So I don't know if this is a particularly popular opinion or not, but I'm kind of over these collector releases from American Girl. Like, truly and honestly, I have seen far too many of them. The first time around, it was like, okay, so I understand the act of targeting those who grew up with the brand. On some level, that makes sense. But they kept coming out and they kept doing these collaborations, and at this point there's no surprise factor. There's no more whimsy in it. It's just like, okay, cool, another $300 doll with a $80 outfit sold separately. And I have no desire to spend that much money on the American Girl Wicked collaboration. And I love American Girl, and I love Wicked. It's still not happening. American Girl already exists at such a high price point. Introducing a new tier above that with premium collector prices, I just don't see how that's sustainable or necessary, especially because, like, with these collector dolls, I don't necessarily see any additional luxury value, anything that justifies paying so much more money beyond this brand recognition. So it's a no. It's a hard pass. $600 for 2 dolls, more than $700 if you want their extra outfits. Just saying that out loud puts like a deep pit of anxiety in my stomach. Okay, so on to Bratz. We've got a few new releases from them, starting with the Hello Kitty collaboration dolls, a lineup that includes Jade, Yasmin, and Chloe. And we will talk about that lineup, trust me. To just talk about the dolls, though, I won't lie, I'm a little disappointed, and it's mostly because when I heard that Bratz was collaborating with Sanrio, I guess I built up this very specific version in my head of exactly what I wanted, and these simply did not live up to that vision, which I guess is not necessarily a very fair critique, but I just can't shake the fact that I feel a little underwhelmed. I think there's some good ideas here. I love the return of the Tokyo Go-Go style screenings. I think a lot of the accessories are really cute. I love that Chloe has this 60s mod sort of styling, even if the execution isn't totally perfect. I see things I like. I think what loses me, though, is the styling overall just feels very pedestrian. These look like the clothes I would see on the rack of Forever 21 when they would do their Hello Kitty collabs. Which isn't totally a bad thing. You know, Forever 21 still chewed every now and then. May they rest in peace. I actually own a Cinnamoroll sweater I bought from them a while back. I think I just expected this collaboration between two absolute icons in the community, Bratz and Sanrio, to be more of a moment, to have so much more production value than these have. They're cute, yeah, but I expected gorgeous, and cute next to gorgeous. There's also the fact that they decided to exclude Sasha from this lineup, which is difficult to not see as very purposeful. Because frankly, I see no reason why she couldn't have been included when every other core Bratz release has made an effort to include all four main characters. So her exclusion is definitely felt, and it leaves a very bad taste in my mouth to the point that even if these were the most amazing, gorgeous, beautiful, well-designed dolls I ever saw, I would still hesitate to think about buying any of them. Because I don't want to send the message to MGA that this is something they should continue to do. And it's not that every single Bratz line has to include every single main character, but if you don't want to include all four, then include like two and throw in some secondary characters like Megan or Kumi or Felicia. To include three and specifically exclude one is going to feel very pointed. And given the fact that MGA is also excluding Sasha in shipments of other lines or not shipping her altogether to countries outside of the USA, it's a very unfortunate precedent, and these are things that we need to be conscious of as collectors. And I'm definitely not the first person to speak about this. It's been an ongoing thing since these images first dropped. The announcements on the Bratz social media pages are being flooded with comments asking where Sasha is, and they went from hiding and avoiding those comments to now responding to them and saying that a Sasha doll is coming, which I'm glad the backlash worked. This is a net gain, of course, but it also just comes off like damage control. And them straight up saying that they decided not to include Sasha from the get-go, the whole thing, it just really doesn't sit right with me. Another release from Bratz, the Holidays Frosty Nights Collector's Edition Chloe doll. So another holiday doll, and I'm torn on this one. I have mixed feelings here because, for one, I love a stole. You know I love a stole, and this is such a good, wonderful, luxurious fur stole. It really is the quickest way to my heart. I think just give a doll a fur stole, and I'm there. What I don't like, unfortunately, is mostly everything else. The gown, like, I see the vision of it, but I think the space between the upper part and the lower part is just like a tad too long. It looks awkward, like almost unfinished or unintentional, if that makes sense. And the construction as a whole is also kind of unimpressive. I'm also not here for the face. I don't like it. I know they're going for, they wanted to emulate that Pat McGrath glass skin look that went viral a while back. But what made that look so cool was the fact that it gave real living people this porcelain doll effect. Chloe here is already a doll, so that effect is kind of moot and also just makes her look very oily. So I'm sorry to say that this doll is kind of a miss for me. Alright, and for our grand finale, we have a new release from Shadow High, of all things. Collector dolls for Chanel and Heather. As of recording, they're both available on Amazon for $32.99, but they've been kind of going in and out of stock. This was a surprising release. Obviously, I was pretty convinced that we'd seen the last of Shadow High, but it's good to know that MGA still sees that there's an audience for more collector-oriented Rainbow High products. Very decently priced collector-oriented products, might I add. And these dolls are both really great, really great. They have absolutely everything that, I adore about classic Rainbow High, which is interesting designs and very intricate, detailed construction. These outfits are both gorgeous. Chanel is definitely my favorite of the two. No surprise, because her original Shadow High doll was one of my all-time favorite Rainbow High dolls just in general. And she looks absolutely wonderful here. I love this look. I love the hair. I love the face. I've truly got no notes, and I really hope we get to see more products in the future that are on this level. And that is everything that I had on my list for today. As always, thank you so much for watching. It is, of course, now your turn to go down there in the comments and tell me all your thoughts. Tell me which dolls you're most excited for, which ones you're getting, which ones you already got, and also which ones you're not getting. Because I do support being a hater, as long as you keep it civil and you keep it cute. So when you're done with that, just be sure to like and subscribe for any future fashion doll content. Now, go out and get those dolls.